The following announcement has been paid for by the
Mark Order. Welcome to the Elite Mark Order podcast, where we talk about all things AEW. And tonight, we're going to talk about World's End, and maybe even some 2024 predictions. I've got a PhD in THC, I'm the Doctor of Pot, CosmicScott, and I'm joined by my partner and co-host, who's wearing a fuzzy hat and dark glasses during a very serious press conference, JayV.
Hey, Happy New Year to all the Elite Marks and everyone else listening. 2023 was an interesting year, and 2024 is, I don't know. I don't know what to say about 2024 for AEW, but I know that the Elite Mark Order is going to have a great 24.
It's shaping up to be interesting. By the way, if you haven't already, go ahead and give us a subscribe, press the like button, leave a comment down below about your thoughts on the pay-per-view. It does help us with the algorithm, helps us grow, and your support is always appreciated. We're on the drive to 1,000, so please give us some help. Let's talk about that show. Was this the best of the worst pay-per-views or the worst of the best pay-per-views? What do you think about it, Jay? I know you've got thoughts about this pay-per-view.
So World's End was probably the worst AEW pay-per-view from a booking standpoint and from an execution standpoint. Some of the matches on the show just had no build. They were just thrown together at the last minute. The in-ring execution on half the matches was poor. It was just, I don't want to say a disaster of a show, but pretty close. I mean, you did have some highlights with Kingston versus Mox. You know, and I almost feel like that might be the only highlight. I guess Swerve versus Dustin was okay, given the last minute change. I did enjoy Tony versus Riho, but other than that, everything was, I don't know, it was just kind of strange. It wasn't a typical AEW show.
This pay-per-view was so fucking weird. I'm not going to have any problems pulling my punches. Half, if not more, of these matches were the drizzling shits. Let's just get right into it. Let's talk about the 0 hour. I do want to talk about Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale. I love both these women. They're both from the Long Island, New York area. One was 20 miles east, one was 20 miles west from the Nassau Coliseum. These guys had a story. There's Stokely Hathaway doing his thing, trying to get Chris Statlander. Chris keeps losing, and again, she lost here tonight. This was the absolute worst match on the card, and it set the pace for the rest. There were 4 separate times that they damn near killed each other. Willow trying to do the Dr. Bomb on Chris Statlander twice, fucked it up. Chris Statlander tried to do the Saturday Night Fever, or whatever her power bomb or her pile driver is, damn near killed Willow. This match was dreadful, and both these women are really, really good. There was something off. You could feel it, and everybody was responding to it. The rest of the night, none of the matches seemed to come off the way they wanted them to. We even talked about Eddie Kingston damn near killing himself during his match. We'll get to that one. But Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander, it had story. It was shitty. I love Willow. I'm glad she won. Chris has something going on with Stokely Hathaway. But what the fuck was this match? Any thoughts?
Yeah, it's too bad. It should have been better. You're hoping to see Willow improve, but she's definitely hit or miss. And then Statlander seemed off to having trouble lifting Willow for some of the moves. I don't know if Willow was sandbagging. I mean, I shouldn't even make that accusation, but
I
don't know.
They were slow and pondering. They were both.
What the hell was going on out there? You know, it was definitely rough.
Yeah, yep. They looked tired. They looked unable to actually execute their own moves. Like, Willow wasn't used to lifting somebody as heavy as Stat, and Stat didn't have the ability to get her arm around Willow's leg. And there were just so many dumb little things. Like, maybe they could have worked on the match before the actual match. But that's where house shows come in. AEW doesn't have house shows. They're not working on these matches before they put them on TV. God, they need a developmental system hard. They need to develop chemistry between people, because the matches that were the best had the best chemistry between people who knew each other the best.
Or these wrestlers can go out and get experience fighting on the indies on the weekends.
They can do that too. Some of
not
them
all
are.
of them,
Some
of them are booked 2 nights a week, but if Billy Starks can go out and have 150 matches a year,
she's the best example, yeah.
they can find work.
Yeah, no,
so I mean, you have a difference there. Like Billy's busted her ass to get where she is and to be a consummate professional at 18, 19 years old. And then you have these people in their mid-20s complaining that they don't get enough time, but they don't take bookings. So it's like, it's just insanity. It's like you provide your people training at work to help them do their job better, and they blow off the training, and then they complain that they don't know how to do their job, and it's not their fault. It's just, where's the accountability here? They need to take responsibility for their own careers. There's no developmental. This isn't WWE. They don't have, a $5 billion market cap to invest in, tens of millions of dollars a year for a performance center. So, get it done. The means are there. A lot of other people have done it. So I don't know. I think it's on them.
They need accountability buddies.
Right.
Because they got rid of Sean Spears. Now everybody can be an accountability buddy.
That's right.
So the one good thing after that segment was they showed the return of Serena Deeb. I know you were excited to see her. She's probably the best wrestler they have on staff right now. Technically. So glad to see her coming back. Don't know what was going on with her. Maybe it was some injury. I don't know.
I did hear it was an injury. I can't verify that. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of searching on Deeb. I know she's been, it seemed like not a lot of people talked about her being gone, but I always enjoy her matches. She's a professional. She's a good technical wrestler, and I'm glad she's going to be back. The women's division needs some help. So.
I do find it interesting. Punk's gone. Deeb shows back up. I don't know. I know they worked together in the past.
Was there anything to that?
No. It's complete rumor and conjecture on my end.
Okay.
There's absolutely no fucking reality to that whatsoever.
Kind of like Nick Hausman and Chris Jericho, right?
Oh, that's a whole other ball of wax we will get into. But let's move on to the next, which is the number one contender, TNT number one contendership Battle Royal. It was thrown together last minute. They made a story of it because coming out of it, the winner was Luchasaurus, a.k.a. Killswitch. There was, there were a lot of good people in it. Sabian had some fun. It was a fucking reverse battle royal, though. You know that, right? They started on the outside. They brawled. People got on the inside. Then the battle royal started and everybody got thrown out. That's a reverse fucking battle royal.
Right.
Once again, there were issues. There were a lot of issues. And it was the execution. This was a terrible match. People were off. There were some good spots. I wasn't happy with the fact that Trent turned on Danhausen. And
no, that sucks. We didn't really talk about that in the chat, but yeah, that was really disappointing to see.
The fans were not happy with it. They love Danhausen. Danhausen needs something. He hasn't gotten anything yet. And then it came down to Trent versus Killswitch, and Killswitch wins, which sets up for a TNT championship match anytime, anywhere. I didn't expect it to be later tonight, but it does set it up. It does make sense. It does continue that story. We'll get to it when we get to the cage match. Again, this was a typical battle royal with people throwing each other over the top rope. But the fact is, it was a reverse battle royal, and it was garbage. Action Andretti got to drink water. That was his spot. He drank a thing of water.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the spot that Kenny used to do on BTE, where he would drink the water bottle. Kind of similar to that, but not like guzzle the whole thing. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like that might be helping Andrade get over. Good. So whatever works, man. Yeah, keep trying it. Maybe it'll catch on.
I noticed that Darius.
He can get his own AW branded water bottles that
absolutely
people can chug in
absolutely
shot.
A little bit of the hydration, something.
Yeah.
But the fact I found it interesting that Darius Martin and Andretti came out as a team. And I'm like, where's Dante? What the fuck's going on with Dante? Turns out he gets a match set up with Orange Cassidy for Dynamite. So I was okay with him not being in the Battle Royal, any of that kind of stuff. He's there for independent personal goals. Okay, personal gold. Great. Loved it. Orange Cassidy, of course, Didn't have anything else in the pay-per-view, but he showed up and made a match. Good. Fair enough. The Battle Royal had some fun spots, but hey, look, Lance Archer showed up for a loss. I'm so tired of all these guys that are popular, Danhausen, who have such potential, Lance Archer, and just aren't getting any sort of love. Now, Lance is working his ass off in the independents. Good on him, but they never use him. Why is he? I saw him going up with Danhausen. I'm like, perfect. They're friends. Their chemistry's going to be fantastic. Trent came in. They did a little back and forth. Danhausen and he got rid of Lance. I was like, fantastic. Now they're going to get rid of Killswitch and it'll be down to those two. Then Trent turns on him. I'm like, this is garbage. So, yeah. As I said, the winner was Killswitch, who gets a match. Cool, I guess. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I was looking forward to it. I thought the ending was good. I didn't pay. It was last minute, so I didn't pay too much attention. I didn't even make a prediction. Mm-hmm. But I thought, Luchasaurus or Killswitch was the best choice for a winner, given the U.S. title match that's yet to come.
TNT. TNT
yeah.
title match.
TNT. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. The story during the pay-per-view ultimately made sense, but I had such hopes that Killswitch would get a program, and it just kind of. We'll talk about it. Anyways,
right.
So
just a time check here. I got just over like 15 minutes left, and
okay. Well, let's talk about the important stuff. First of all,
okay.
Hook versus Wheeler Yuta. Hook won. Then we had the 8-man tag match with all of the people who didn't win the C2. So you had Claudio, Bryan, Briscoe, Garcia versus King, Jay White, Jay Lethal, and Roosh. I thought it was a fun match.
Solid, good loser bracket match.
Yeah,
didn't really have a point, but
it did. It did.
Worked.
Danny Garcia got a pin.
Okay,
that was the point. He got a big win. He got the win back. He got to pin. I think it was Jay Lethal. I don't remember who it was, and it set up some other stuff with like Brody King's interaction and Rouge, and so there was a little bit back and forth. Garcia was like, "Yeah, I'm on a team with Danielson." He had a great time as a result. So I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
So then we had the Redeemer Miro versus Andre El Idolo, who Andrade left the company. So of course Miro won. The plot was Miro CJ Perry stuff. Hasn't really been on TV a whole lot. Kind of put on pause because Andrade was in the tournament. Now Andrade's leaving. CJ Perry has been a bit of a wash. What a useless match this was. And I'm a fan of Miro. Another match where technically they had issues because something was off. Any thoughts on the match?
I don't know. It was a 15-minute match. I didn't watch it that closely. The stuff with CJ was interesting. It was also trying to sort through, like, wow, is this really Andrade's last match? Yeah. And then I was just thinking, like, they gave him that huge win over Danielson in the Continental Classic. Like, he destroyed Danielson. It was the worst loss I ever saw Danielson take.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And that just, that made Andrade look really strong. But then he went on to lose, like, the rest of his matches and then loses to Miro, and now he's gone. Okay, interesting booking decision. That might have been his consolation prize for agreeing to, job out on the way out the door. But I guess it remains to be seen if he's going to leave. So I don't know.
Oh, no, it was announced. TK said during the press conference, Andrade's done.
You're right, he did.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Bye-bye, Andrade.
Farewell, Andrade.
Does he go back to...
His impact in AEW was
minimal.
Very little.
No, his impact actually was huge. He brought in Roosh, who's a better version of Andrade.
True. Right.
So, yeah, he goes back, and he probably just goes back to being Mr. Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, and Charlotte's out for a year plus, so...
Yeah, so I don't know. They'll put him in with the LWO and give him Ric Flair. Who knows? Next up, we had Timeless Toni Storm versus Riho. We talked about it a little bit. Toni Storm is fantastic. This character is brilliant. She's got some spots that are starting to work out, like being on the shoulders of Luther. Just really fun stuff. Riho, they didn't work together perfectly. Riho did not look believable. And Toni won appropriately. And That's it. There really wasn't much going on with this entire thing. Mariah May is the next big thing, but they didn't set it up. So I don't
Well,
know.
the problem, Riho is used to working with heels, and
Yeah,
Riho is a huge baby face,
yeah,
and she has to get beat up and make the comeback. But it's like the crowd was into Storm, like they
yeah.
weren't cheering for Riho. Part of that's because Riho hasn't been used in forever, and it wasn't believable that she was a serious challenger because she's never used, she's never on TV.
And never winning.
So I mean,
She hasn't won
it's
in any number of her appearances.
right. I mean, she won. Didn't she win a match to get the title shot?
Sure, maybe.
So, but besides that, like
Oh
she
yeah,
only
she
has a
did. She beat
handful of
Saraya.
matches. So yeah,
Yeah,
this match should have been. They should have worked out a different approach to keep it interesting. It's too bad. I hope this isn't like held against Riho. Like, oh, it's not working. Sorry, we're done. You know, I'd hate to see that because Riho is a great baby face against heels, and unfortunately, Tony was the baby face, and Riho was just kind of there,
yeah.
not getting much offense in it all. So
Even like the Boston Crab that Tony Storm didn't look believable because Rio was just like okay. She
right,
just
right,
did
she's yeah.
small and flexible, and it didn't look like it really pained her. So
No, not a good move to use on Riho.
it just again, I love both women. Chemistry wasn't there. Something wasn't clicking like all of the matches. Um, then we had Dustin versus Swerve Strickland, which Swerve is on fire, red hot. As expected, Dustin did his best to make Swerve look good. I don't get the angle where he fucked up his ankle before the match started and then was actively competitive during the match. It should have been a squash after that, but so be it. Strickland wins, looks good. What'd you think?
I liked it. I like Dustin's comeback. I always feel like Dustin could be given a little more because the crowd really responds to him. He was even getting cheers in this match, although the crowd loves Swerve as well. I enjoyed the match. It was way better than I thought it would be. I thought the beginning of it shows that vicious side of Swerve that he really needs to give him an edge. So I liked it. I thought it was a great pivot away from Keith Lee.
Okay.
He was injured. I hope Keith Lee gets better soon, and maybe someday we'll see Keith Lee versus Swerve. But
We
hey, maybe
might.
it'll be maybe in 2025. Who knows?
All right, so we're going to go much faster because even less time. We got the 8-man tag match: Jericho, Allen, Guevara, Sting versus Big Bill, Ricky Starks, Don Callis family of Takeshita, and Powerhouse Hobbs. Guevara got a pin. Big whoop. Jericho overshadowed everything with his antics online over the weekend. And once again, this match could have been great, but it was the drizzling shits. And Sting, as much as I love him, was garbage.
Oh,
He was. Honestly, he was moving like shit. There were a couple of moves that got fucked up. Again, everything about this entire pay-per-view, people were fucking up everything. So I'm not saying Sting is shit, by no means. But he really was struggling in this match.
I don't know. I think I disagree with that. Sting's 65, so I think you got to temper expectations.
For 65, he was struggling, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying he was a
recall.
35-year-old struggling.
I don't recall Sting looking bad. There was a kick that looked like it missed, or I don't know. There was something like that, but I thought Sting was fine. I thought the crowd responded to him well. He got his Scorpion in. It was funny because you had Jericho with the Walls of Jericho on, and everyone was booing that, and then Sting put the Deathlock on, and everyone was cheering that. I guess my take on this match is I'm glad Jericho went through with this, and that Tony Khan did pull him from this match against Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. I think we could probably have a whole show on this, but I'm glad Tony didn't bow to Rumor and Innuendo, which is the name of the guy's podcast who was pushing these allegations. First off, hitting on someone isn't a crime. Hitting on someone isn't assault in and of itself, unless it's like happening a lot and it sounded like a one-time thing from the information we were given. That's not a crime. That doesn't mean that someone 5 years later should lose their job when this information was already out there. And then you have like some burner account providing details to make Jericho look like a creep, which hasn't been substantiated. And I'm glad Tony didn't bow And to this whole contingent of people who are outraged online, go fuck yourselves. Go move out of your parents' basement and get a fucking job and become a productive member of society instead of sitting around bitching on the internet all day over stuff that you don't you have nothing, you don't know anything about. So that's my take
Jay,
on
don't
it.
sugarcoat it. Don't
So,
sugarcoat it. Let us know what you really feel.
I kind of am sugarcoating it.
That's a
So
joke.
I mean, it's just too much. Where it's 2023 and hitting on someone is now sexual assault. It's like, what the fuck happened to the, like I mean, these people have no idea the precedents they're setting with saying that people shouldn't work because someone hit on someone 5 years ago. Like, I mean, do you know how many people couldn't work if that was a crime? Like,
Everybody. The fact
I mean,
is,
Jesus.
there is an issue
I've
with
had
the power
I've
dynamic.
I've had
Look,
unwelcome advances from
we all have.
from people at work, and
We all have.
I
Here's the
don't
thing.
hold it against them. I just tell them no and tell them to stop, and you move on.
The
I mean,
power dynamic is the only issue because Chris is a big, important person in the company. Let's be honest.
she's reporting to him though. So what if he's powerful?
It's still a power dynamic. He's still got the ear of the boss. It's still a sticky mess. And you just want to avoid that shit. And he's married. So there's a lot of negative to it. But should he be fired over it? Sure, 5 years ago if it was true.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah.
But
now it's being used as a weapon.
Yeah, you have a journalist with a vendetta because he spoke out against Punk with the drunken tweets on Christmas. So, Jericho should be, and I had even said, Jericho should have been promoting the pay-per-view, not bringing up Brawl Out and throwing more fuel on the fire about something that's been a detraction. It's almost like you think Jericho was doing it because he doesn't like MJF. Like, how much of a,
I don't know.
Because you got MJF complaining that everyone's stealing his headlines. So Jericho's like, "Oh, I'll show you stealing the headlines. Take a look at this on Christmas morning." So I don't know.
It's so fucking petty right now.
Yeah,
it's brutal. But let's move on. Let's just try to cover this real quick. I don't want to take up all of your day because obviously you don't have any. We got the House of Black, the TBS Championship, House of Black rules. Julia Hart versus Abaddon. The stipulation Abaddon chose with it. Bites were legal, which is funny. Nobody's been DQ'd for biting in decades. This is Spooky Chance. This is another match. I talked about it in the chat. I love these women. They were red fucking hot to start this match, and then whatever it was, the crowd was out of it. They started sitting on their hands. They went dead fucking silent. It's brutal. It's disappointing. I think you were right in chat when you said it has to do with how green both of the competitors are. Julia Hart is 22, is still fucking green, cannot carry a match yet, and had difficulty being able to keep the audience engaged. Abaddon never gets any fucking screen time. I'm not blaming her at all. Whoever laid this match out, I assume they have producers somewhere. This just didn't keep people engaged. For two of the hottest women there were, they were chanting, "This is spooky." They love these people. They still love them coming out of the match, but man,
it should have been a 3 or 4 minute match. Like, whoever thought that they should go 12 minutes was just stupid. So, I mean, on one hand, it's like, hey, you guys all complain you're not getting time. Here you go. Show me what you got. And they didn't deliver. I feel bad for Julia because she's in the ring with Abaddon, who has had 4 matches in the last year and a half. I mean,
that's my point.
It's Julia needs more help, and Abaddon has less experience than her. Abaddon hasn't even wrestled 100 matches in her entire career.
Julia has got amazing potential. House of Black has done nothing but wonders for her character work. But she doesn't have the experience to do a match like that. And
Julia has 75. Julia has 75 matches, and Abaddon has 99, according to Cage Match. So, I mean, that's what we got. You got two people
rookies.
Without experience.
They're rookies. They're green.
Yeah. Yep.
And as a result, the match struggled. I loved it.
It's too bad.
And sure, Julia won, but yeah, really, really, really upsetting.
I hope it doesn't hurt her stock.
Either one of them.
I hope
Either one of
But I
them.
mean, Tony still had her on the post show, so Tony still does like her. So hopefully, it doesn't hurt her push.
I hope it doesn't hurt either of the women. So next we had the TNT Championship no DQ match with Kevin Cage, Christian Cage, the Patriarch against Adam Copeland. Ultimately, Copeland won after all the shenanigans, and then Luchasaurus came up with his contract, said he wanted to take the title shot, and of course Christian told him no, took the contract from him, whispered in his ear, and Luchasaurus just backed down. Christian Cage got the title back immediately, and I think Copeland had less than a minute, maybe 2 minutes, as champion. That was dreadful. As you called it, it was overbooked WWE garbage. I can't disagree with that. Christian Cage as champion is the right choice. He should have just won.
I agree. Tony have been saying, the Continental Classic and the sports feel, and we want a more real sports approach again. We kind of got away from that, and then he has a match like this on the pay-per-view while he's talking shit like that. It's like it's such a contradiction. Like, this was the worst title change in AEW history.
Yeah.
Other than possibly, MJF losing to the two guys that weren't even announced. I mean, we don't even know who the ROH tag champions are.
We don't know which one of them.
Right.
Right.
So it's like it's WWE bullshit, and I think it's depressing to see the product start to see Tony using tactics like this as he brings in more guys from like the ruthless aggression era, the Cena era of WWE, and uses them as his top guys. It's exactly not what we wanted. We wanted an alternative. We didn't want the WWE guys we were sick of watching back when they're 50 years old holding titles and using stupid contract handoffs and money in the bank cash-ins that don't make any sense. It's pretty bad, and I'm not. It's just not a good sign for things to come.
It does make me worried. That's for sure.
But it was a hell of a match. I really enjoyed the match.
The match itself was great because of the chemistry between the two 40-plus year friends.
Yep. And I even enjoyed the Nick and Shayna stuff.
Mm-hmm. The flaming table spot. The crowd fucking went berserk for the flaming table.
Well, he kind of missed the table and landed on his head, but
he also didn't get set on fire.
Yeah,
like they clearly wanted. They clearly wanted him because he was wearing a jacket.
Yeah.
But no, that spot went wrong. That's why he had to relight the table. There was so much wrong in this fucking pay-per-view. But flaming table spot, and it was still a schmoz. This match was so WWE. Now, here's the thing. I love AEW for the smorgasbord, for all the different things. The hardcore stuff, the entertainment stuff. I was okay with the sports entertainment aspects of it because it was only one match. But they added so much overbooked garbage. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then they did the 20-second title hold. That's what lost me. I was okay with Copeland winning ultimately, or Christian winning ultimately, but the part with the contract I didn't like. Just didn't like it. Now, the only match that matters, Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kittenston, he went through his redemption arc just like we talked about, just like we called. He started at the bottom. He lost a bunch of matches, won all the way out, got to the finals, got to face off against, once again, his long-term friend with massive amounts of chemistry, Jon Moxley. What a fucking match this was. As always, hard-hitting from two guys who absolutely think that this is real. Eddie wins and gets to be the the Triple Crown champion that he always wanted to be. Thought it was a phenomenal match. What were your thoughts?
I liked it. I thought the match was outstanding. It was a nice, strong style North American matchup.
Yeah.
I was happy to see Kingston win, realize his dream. Beating Jon Moxley was a great accomplishment for him. I mean, Mox has only laid down clean to Punk and I think one other person. And MJF, I think, although MJF probably cheated to beat him, but Lance Archer beat Mox clean. But anyhow, yeah, it was a great match. And I'm super happy for Kittenston. The Kitten wasn't involved, but I still think it's coming.
I think he was in the bag with the title. We just didn't see it.
I think so.
We just didn't see
so.
it.
We did say that the Kitten was in the bag. He was going to put it on Mox after he got the win, like
Damien from Jake the Snake.
Mox would be like foaming at the mouth as a kitten crawled around on him.
Oh yeah, he'd be convulsing,
paralyzed in fear.
That would be beautiful.
The ref running away from the kitten.
Oh, by the way, speaking of ref, Bryce Rensburg gets introduced, gets booed out of the building. That was hysterical. Really? Yeah, that was
I didn't even notice that.
That was the title match with MJF. They said, and the referee, Bryce Rensburg, boo! I'm like, oh my god. So
I guess it's a Long Island thing to do is boo the officials, except probably not Audrey, but maybe. I don't
know. But I will say, love the match with Kingston. At the end of it, after everything, Mox picks him up, hugs him, walks out of the ring, and Eddie gets to bask in the glory of his Long Island win. It's a fantastic story throughout the entire C2 Classic, C2 tournament. Now he's got 3 belts, Eddie 3 belts. They tried to chant that quickly. I'm so happy Eddie's able to get this, but he's now defending 3 separate belts apparently. So we'll see how this works out.
I still want to make the video of Eddie Kingston's ties with Kawada and that whole deal from the Starcast, the Starcast visit. And that the interview with Kawada that Kingston did. I don't think there's great coverage of that on the internet, so I think documenting that would be something that people might enjoy. So I do want to do that at some point.
Okay.
Maybe in a couple of weeks I'll be able to get that out.
When the holidays slow down, sure.
Oh, it's always something.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the final match of the night, which was MJF versus Samoa Joe versus the World Title Championship. Now, MJF brought out Adam Cole right there at the very beginning. And there were some hints really early, like Adam Cole was in all black. He wasn't wearing any of his gear or Better Than You Baby shirt. He wasn't wearing anything. He was in all black. So the match goes through. And you called out Samoa Joe was wearing gold.
Yeah.
He was in white and gold, and if you're in white and gold, you are winning the match and getting gold.
That's right.
And he did. The match went through. Adam Cole did not successfully pass the ring over to Max, and thus Samoa Joe got the Coquina clutch in and got the win. Afterwards, Samoa gets the title, leaves, and it's Adam and Max getting beaten down by the Devil's Men. Beat me, not him. Beat me, not him. They go back and forth. No, hit me with the chair. No, hit me with the chair. Lights go out. Adam Cole's sitting on the chair, and he's the devil. And then they beat up Max. So if Adam Cole didn't break his ankle, he'd be champion now. Not Joe.
Yep.
Joe was clearly the addition.
Yep.
This entire story got derailed.
Yep.
And now
if Max wasn't hurt,
it doesn't.
He may have retained against Joe.
It doesn't even make yeah, that's true. It doesn't even make any fucking sense. Cole wanted the championship for himself. Why'd he give it to Joe? Oh, by the way, the entire Roddy Strong, my best friend by proxy, Samoa Joe, MJF is the devil. They were telling us the whole time, and we all pretty much knew it was Cole.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt that it's actually logically consistent.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
We'd hoped it was someone other than Cole because that was the obvious choice all along. I mean,
we wanted a swerve for shock's sake, for bringing in someone to shake things up, to give us something new, and because Cole is hurt. If he wasn't injured, this story could have been phenomenal. We don't know.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
Well, we'll know when Cole comes back and MJF comes back. Based on what happens with the bidding war at 24, if that's even a thing. I don't think it is. I think MJF is signed long term.
Yeah, I think he's 2027. I think he's already been locked up.
But yeah, I think we saw the convergence of all the 7 programs he was in with Samoa Joe, with the Kingdom, with Cole, with Wardlow. Wardlow is one of the Devil's
Mm-hmm.
Men, which is interesting. Is Wardlow going to go after Joe? That would be a hell of a match.
Yeah.
Um, Joe, and I gotta get running, so I got a couple minutes left. But yeah, Joe is champ. I mean, I respect Joe, but I don't really like go out of my way to watch Samoa Joe matches. I've never been a huge fan of his work. Not that not that he's bad. Like, he's definitely a really good wrestler. He's just, I don't know. His matches just don't draw me in like some of the other guys. So
No.
I don't know. Joe is older. Joe has this acting deal with WB. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know the details of that. And Tony's like, oh, we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
do a co-sponsorship, and I
Well,
don't
here's the
know.
thing.
Samoa Joe is your AEW champ,
He
and
is
Christian is your
TNT.
TNT champ, and I don't know. It's not the spirit of the company that was formed 5 years ago,
It
but
feels
it's
different.
still the best that we got in the
Yeah.
US.
It,
So,
do- it,
in
it
my opinion,
it does feel different. It's true. It is the best alternative. And the thing about Joe is, first of all, this is partially a reward for saving All In. This is partially synergy because he did play the physical actor of Sweet Tooth for the Twisted Metal series that they had. There's just, he does have a broader appeal than perhaps you and I. I like Joe. I just don't know as a champion. I loved him as the TV champ. I don't know if he has the broad appeal necessary as world champ. But I do know that WB likes him. I do know that he's got Hollywood appeal. And I do know that TK is rewarding him for saving his fucking pay-per-view. So
yeah, yep, yep.
this is another chance. Hey, Joe, come in, save our entire storyline by being the person who's going to,
Right.
they had to do something, and Joe is the guy they turn to. I'm okay with that, but damn, I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know what's going to happen with AEW in 2024. Here's the one thing I do know is that calm seas never produced excellent sailors.
That's right.
So if they can navigate this, fantastic. It's the same sort of thing WWE had to navigate when they were young and had issues. Can they overcome it? 2023 launched Fight Forever. What a disappointment. 2023 brought back Punk again. What a disappointment. 2023 has been so up and down. Kenny Omega comes back, goes out again. There's so much going on in 2023. I'm glad to be done with it. I don't know if 2024 is going to be better, but I can only hope. Jay, I know you need to get going. Any last thoughts?
No, the product is still keeping me interested going into 2024. So we'll still be, at least I'll plan on still doing podcasts and
Right.
stuff, and maybe dig into some of the other things we wanted to do with the website, and we'll see how that goes, and looking forward to 24, and every day I check into the Discord, and it's always, we got the same crew of 10 guys or so that are always shooting
Super
the shit,
active.
talking about wrestling and life and everything else, and yeah, it's just a great group of guys, and feel free to join our Discord if you want, and otherwise have a happy new year, and I will talk to you all soon.
Thanks so much, Jay. Appreciate you and appreciate everything of the Elite Mark Order. Don't forget, you can join us, elitemarkorder.com. Click on Join the Discord. We'd love to have you. There really is only one thing left to say, and that is JJ for life.